Everyone and welcome to a new video of your Polyglot Academy, and in this video we're going to start the series on how to learn German up to a B1 level with 1,000 words, and this video is going to be the first one, so basically the first 100 words you should know if you learn German. And yeah, I already talked about this method in the last video about how you can learn a language literally by just learning the most important words with frequency lists. So let's start. This is going to be all about it, and please also try to integrate this list to the grammar list and the 55 videos I already made on how to learn German. Let's start. Now, word number one is wie, which means how or like depending on the situation. Here are two examples. Wie geht's dir? How are you? Or ich bin genauso wie du. I am just like you. So you have two types of meanings. Word number two, ich, which means I. Here's a straight up example. Ich bin müde, I'm tired. Sein, seine, which means his, and it's a possessive pronoun. And here's an example. Das ist seine Tasche, that is his bag. And you can see seine, we have an E at the end because Tasche is feminine. Word number four is das, and it means that, and it is a conjunction, a very important one. Here's an example. Ich weiß, dass kommt. I know that he's coming. Word number five is going to be which means he. And here's an example. Spielt Fußball. He plays football. Word number six is the war, which means was. So basically for the third person singular. Das war schön. That was nice. Für means for. And here's an example. Das ist für dich. This is for you, or that is for you. Word number 8 is going to be auf, which means on, onto, or at, depending on the situation, but you'll learn more about auf in the video about prepositions. Here's an example. Das Buch liegt auf dem Tisch. The book is on the table. Now, word number 9 is going to be sind, which means are. Here's an example. Wir sind Freunde, we are friends. Word number 10 is mit, which means with. Ich gehe mit meiner Schwester. I'm going with my sister. Word number 11 is sie, which means she or they. Here's an example. Sie ist meine Lehrerin. She is my teacher. Word number 2 is sein, the verb to be, the most important verb in the German language. And here's an example. Sein oder nicht sein. To be or not to be. Word number 13 is bei, which means at, near, or with, depending on the situation, but mostly at. Here's an example. Ich bin bei meiner Oma. I am at my grandma's. Word number 14, which means or one, and it is ein or eine, depending on the gender. Ich habe ein Buch. I have a book. Word number 15 is haben, to have, also one of the most important verbs in German language. And here's an example. Wir haben einen Tisch. We have a table. Word number 16 is dies, which means this. Dies ist wichtig. This is important. Word number 17 is aus, which means from or out of. Kommt aus Spanien. He comes from Spain. Now word number 18 is durch, which means through. Wir gehen durch den Park. We go through the park. Now word 19 is heiß, which is hot, and it's an adjective. Der Kaffee ist heiß. The coffee is hot. Word number 20 is Wort, das Wort, which means word. Here's an example. Ich kenne dieses Wort nicht. I don't know this word. Number 21 is aber, which means but. Here's an example. Ich mag Pizza, aber ich esse lieber Pasta. I like pizza, but I prefer pasta. Number 22 is was, which means what. And here's an example. Was machst du? What are you doing? Word number 23 is einige, which means some. Einige Leute sind schon hier. Some people are already here. Word number 24 ist, which means is. Here's an example. Das ist schön. This is nice. Word number 25 is es, which means it. So for the neutral case, es regnet, it's raining. Now we have, again, sie, but in this case it means you for formal cases, and it's going to be written with a capital letter. Here's an example. Wie heißen Sie? What is your name? But in a formal way, so while talking to a person you may not know. Word number 27 is oder, which means or. Willst du Tee oder Kaffee? Do you want tea or coffee? Word number 28 is hatte, which means had. Hatte Glück. He had luck. Number 29 is die, the article the for feminine nouns. Die Sonne scheint, the sun is shining. Word number 30 is von, which means of or from. Ein Freund von mir, a friend of mine. Number 31 means zu, and it means to basically. Ich gehe zu meinem Freund. I'm going to my friend. Now word number 32 is und, which means and. Ich habe Äpfel und Bananen gekauft. I bought apples and bananas. Word number 33 is wir, which means we. And here's an easy example. Wir spielen Fußball. We are playing football. Word number 34 is können, which means can. Ich kann schwimmen. I can swim. Word number 35 is andere, which means other or another, depending on the situation. Das ist eine andere Geschichte. This is another story. Word number 36 is waren, which means where. Wir waren müde. We were tired. Word number 37 is die, which means who in this case, or which, but as a relative pronoun. So please pay attention to this one. Das ist die Frau, die hier wohnt. This is the woman who lives here. Word number 38 is tun, which means to do. Was soll ich tun? What should I do? Number 39 is ihre, which means their or her. And here are two examples. Das ist ihre Jacke, ihre Eltern sind nett. That is her jacket, their parents are nice. Now word number 40, die Zeit, time. And here's an example. Ich habe keine Zeit. I don't have time. Number 41, wenn, which means if or when. And here's an example. Ich komme, wenn ich Zeit habe. I'll come if I have time. Werden, which means will or to become. And here's an example. Es wird bald dunkel. It will be dark soon. Now, sagen is word number 43, which means to say or to tell depending on the situation, but that's basically the same. Kannst du das noch einmal sagen? Can you say that again? Number 44 is jede, jeder oder jedes, depending on the gender, and it means each or every. Here's an example. Jeder Tag ist ein Geschenk. Each day is a gift. Word number 45 is der Satz, which means sentence. Dieser Satz ist schwer. This sentence is difficult. Word number 46 is drei, which means three. And here's an example. Ich habe drei Geschwister. I have 3 siblings. Now, wollen is word number 47 and it means to want. It's the modal verb. Ich will schlafen. I want to sleep. Now you have word number 48, die Luft, which means air. And here's an example. Die Luft ist frisch. The air is fresh. Gut, which means good and well, is number 49. And here's an example. Mir geht's gut. I'm doing well. Word number 50 is auch, which means also or too. And here's an example. Ich komme auch. I'm coming too. Word number 51 is spielen, which means to play. And here's an example. Die Kinder spielen im Garten. The children are playing in the garden. Word number 52 is klein, which means small. Das Haus ist klein. The house is small. Now we have das Ende, which means end. Am Ende war alles gut. In the end, everything was fine. Now we have setzen, to put or to place. And here's an example. Er setzt das Glas auf den Tisch. He puts the glass on the table. Zu Hause, which means home, is the next word. And here's an example. Ich bleibe heute zu Hause. I'm staying home today. Now you have lesen, to read. And here's an example. Sie liest ein Buch. She's reading a book. Der Hafen is the next word, which means port or harbor. Here's an example. Das Schiff liegt im Hafen. The ship is in the port. Now we have groß, which means large or big, depending on the situation. And here's an example. Das Hotel ist sehr groß. The hotel is very large. Now we have buchstabieren, which means to spell, as the next word. And here's an example. Kannst du deinen Namen buchstabieren? Can you spell your name? The next word is hinzufügen, which means to add. And here's an example. Ich möchte auch etwas hinzufügen. I want to add something too. The next word is das Land, which means land or country. Er lebt im Land Deutschland. He lives in the country Germany. Now we have hier, which means here. Komm hier. Come here, babe. So that's basically the same. Müssen is the next word, also a modal verb, which means to have to or to must. Here's an example. Ich muss lernen. I have to study. Hoch is the next one, which means high or tall. Der Berg ist hoch. The mountain is high. So is the next word, which means such or so. Here's an example. Das ist so schön. That is so beautiful. So that's basically like in English, but the only thing that is not similar is the pronunciation basically. Now we have folgen, which means to follow. And here's an example. Bitte folgen Sie mir, please follow me. The next word is warum, which means why. And here's an example. Warum lachst du? Why are you laughing? The next one is fragen, which means to ask. Darf ich etwas fragen? May I ask you something? Now we have der Mann, which means man, as word number 69. Der Mann arbeitet im Feld. The man works in the field. Now we have die Veränderung, which means change. Here's an example. Die Veränderung war überraschend. The change was surprising. The next word is gehen, which means to go. Here's an example. Er geht nach Hause. He goes home. Now you have word number 72, das Licht, which means light. Here's an example. Das Licht ist hell. The light is bright. Now number 73 is die Art, which means kind or type. Here's an example. Welche Art von Musik magst du? What kind of music do you like? Word number 74 is also aus, but it means off or out of in this context. Here's an example. Das Licht ist aus. The light is off. Now we have das Haus, which means house. Das Haus ist groß. The house is big. Das Bild, which means picture or image. Ich habe ein Bild gemalt. I painted a picture. Now we have versuchen, to try. Ich versuche es noch einmal. I'll try it again. Now you have uns, which means us. Sie helfen uns. They help us. In the next example you have das Tier, which means animal. Mein Lieblingstier ist die Katze. My favorite animal is the cat. The next word is wieder, which means again. Ich möchte dich nie wiedersehen. I don't want to see you again. Word number 81 is der Punkt, which means point or dot. Er hat einen wichtigen Punkt gemacht. He made an important point. The next word is die Mutter, which means mother. Meine Mutter kocht gut. My mother cooks well. Die Welt, world, is the next word. Die Welt ist groß. The world is big. The next word is in der Nähe von, which means near. Here's an example. Ich wohne in der Nähe von der Schule. I live near the school. Bauen is the next word, which means to build. Wir bauen ein neues Haus. We are building a new house. Now we have selbst, which means self, oneself, or myself, depending on the situation. Here's an example. Ich mache das selbst. I'm doing it myself. In the next example, you have Die Erde, which means earth or ground. Die Erde ist rund. The earth is round. Now we have der Vater, which means father. Mein Vater arbeitet im Büro. My father works in the office. The next word is going to be neu, which means new. Here's an example. Ich habe ein neues Auto. I have a new car. The next word is die Arbeit, work or job. Here's an example. Ich gehe zur Arbeit. I'm going to work. Now we have der Teil, which means part. Das ist ein wichtiger Teil. That is an important part. Now we have nehmen, which means to take. And here's an example. Kann ich das nehmen? Can I take that? Word number 93 is erhalten, which means to get or to receive. Ich habe einen Brief erhalten. I received a letter. The next word is der Ort, which means place. Here's an example. Das ist ein schöner Ort. This is a nice place. Leben is the next word and it means to live. Ich lebe in Deutschland. I live in Germany. Now we have wo, which means where. Wo bist du? Where are you? The next one is nach, which means after or to. Here's an example. Nach der Schule gehe ich nach Hause. After school I go to home, so to say, even though you would say I go home. The next word is zurück, which means back, and here's an example. Ich komme morgen zurück. I'll come back tomorrow. Now we have wenig, which means little or few. Here's an example. Ich habe nur wenig Zeit. I have only a little time. And now finally we have the last example, the last word, nur, which means only. And the example is, ich esse nur Obst. I eat only fruit. So these were the 100 words for the first lesson. Please try to learn them either with Anki flashcards or with other methods you might prefer. And please try to learn these words. And in the next 2 days, I'm going to post the second video of this playlist with the next 100 words and so on, up until we're going to have 1,000 words you can base your fundamentals on. And that is going to be fundamental for you to learn German vocabulary if you know the alphabet already and the whole pronunciations, because then it's going to be pretty easier for you to also recognize words in dialogues. Yeah, so that was the video. I hope you liked it. If you have any questions or any wishes, just leave a comment. And other than that, thanks for watching. Have a nice day. I'll see you soon. Have a nice day. Goodbye.